Hello, geeks and ghouls. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite horror authors, Graham Masterton. That's a cover of two of his books, an omnibus of his books, Rituals and Walkers, and I just have this here because it's booktube. You're supposed to have a book here to indicate that. Most of his other novels I've got, they are in translation because Mr. Masterton is super popular here in Greece or in Poland or other countries. Graham Masterton was born in Scotland. He currently lives in Ireland. He worked as a reporter. He was an editor for the Penthouse magazine back in the 70s, and he was very successful writing how-to sex guides. And I'm not talking about this aspect of his career today. The reason he is mostly known to us is because of his horror novels. When the market for sex guides died, he transitioned to horror. He started writing horror with his novel The Manitou. It was published in the mid-70s. I think it was 74 or 75. I have no notes here. I'm just, going through my head, so expect me to stumble and make little sense, or to Frankenstein together some footage. So I'm sorry for that. I'll just have to talk to you about why I like this guy. In The Manitou, it is about a fake medium, ariah, who is called to help a woman. He has a rich client, and her niece starts to grow a tumor on the back of her head, and the doctors are unable to find out what this tumor is, and he is called as a supernatural expert. And too bad for him, it is the supernatural. It is the Manitou of the title, very powerful summon from 200 years ago, Miskuimakus, who comes to the present to destroy the white people for all the evils they brought to his people. He's the villain in this book. So yeah, just saying. And yes, The Manitou was very successful. It became a movie, and also it spawned 5 sequels. The latest one came out in 2014, I believe. I've ordered the first 2 books in that series. Other novels of him are The Djinn, which is also featuring ariah, only it has nothing to do with what's happening in Manitou. I think it's out of continuity, and maybe it was an earlier novel he has written. After the success of Manitou, he also published this one. The Devils of D-Day, which is about back in World War II, there were some tanks that were the terror in the front because they were driven by demons trapped into them, and in the modern day of the 70s, one of them is released, spreading havoc. There's Charnel House, which is also about a house moaning in San Francisco. Like The Manitou, it's one of those slower novels building up to something. There's a sense of mystery. But what I really like about Graham Masterton is not those novels, even though both The Manitou and Charnel House are great books. Jin's also. There is also The Sphinx, which is more paranormal romance in his early career. But what really stands out to me is some of his later gorier novels. And when I say gorier, I mean gory stuff. His books can be very violent, very graphic, and the kills are slasher type inventive. They're both very graphic in violence, and also there is often a lot of variety of kills. They're very interesting. One of my favorite examples is The Black Angel, the first chapter. I'll leave a link to the Amazon page below so you can read the preview and get an idea of what I'm talking about. This was the first book I've read from Graham Masterton, and the way it starts, I was impressed by how brutal it was. And I was early in my horror reading career, so I was like, that's awesome, I have to read more of his books, and I did. Other notable books are The Pariah, which is a story about a husband that he's visited by his dead wife, or is it? Because something sinister is out there. And yeah, at this point you can start to see there's a pattern in his books. A lot of his books are about some sort of an ancient demon or god or spirit or legend coming to our world today and wreaking havoc. And that evil can have many origins. We can have Native American shamans, we can have South American demons, or Asian demons, or biblical demons, or European folklore, whatever. You can have all sorts of evil out there, and this is mostly an excuse, in a way, to go on. It's a lot of his novels tend to be formulaic. However, Graham Masterton is very good at introducing twists the formula. I mean, you had some sort of idea. I'm talking to you about how this, or his earliest books, and you have some idea of how he deals with that. He has some original ideas. I mean, he has some out there books like Flesh and Blood or Tengu. Sometimes he takes inspiration from classic works of fiction like The Mirror, which is based on Alice in Wonderland, and it also involves a silent cinema star, which was a child star in the silent film era, and how he mysteriously disappeared. And our protagonist comes up with the mirror he owned, and weirdness happens. Or there is the family portrait that is based on the portrait of Dorian Gray. His writing is solid, very fun. He has a way with descriptions. Sometimes his writing has a lot of hip lingo, which means that some of his 70s books will be terribly dated today. I mean, I remember reading Charnel House, which was one of those books I loved, and it was like they were speaking in 70s lingo, and I was like, oh god, kill me now. So that's a thing, but you know, that's part of the sacrifice you have to make to read old horror books. He has some good ideas. Again, he is following a formula. He has some tropes that he's following again and again, but you know what, at this point, this is not annoying, because there is enough variation here to make this feel fresh and interesting. I know that sometimes I'm in a master reading mood, so that's what I want to read. I mean, I have a joke with a friend that his books are like gyro, you know, the Greek fast food, because you pretty much know when you get a gyro, you know what you're getting. It's meat wrapped in a pita bread with tomato, tzatziki sauce, or onion, and maybe fries. But you know what? You can always be surprised by what's in there, because instead of chopped meat, you can put other types of chopped meat. You can put. I'll make you hungry. So yes, you get the idea. You know what you're getting, but there is always something to surprise you. There's enough variation there that you can do a twist on it and surprise you. So it's pretty much like every fast food, like you know, tacos or a hamburger. The basics are there, but you can change the meat or add the different ingredients in there, and that's what he's doing in his books. He has some basic stuff. He has some violent kills, sometimes gorier than others. I mean, okay, I love Charnel House, but the one gory murder scene was kind of meh, not too intense, not as intense as Black Angel or The Sleepless or Flesh and Blood or whatever. No, some of his books are not that violent, which is there is something to surprise you there. And sometimes there's too much. Sometimes he's just not going for a standard police procedural or unfortunate person being trapped in a crazy situation. No, he's just going for some crazy things out there, like he does in Tengu, or for some more subtle horror like he does in Trauma. Yeah, I mean, not all his books are horror. In the 90s, when the horror market was also having a bit of a bust, he went to crime thrillers and mysteries. I have not read many of his mystery books, so I cannot comment on them. I've read The Scarlet Widow, which was historical mystery, and not as nasty as his horror books, which is the same. It was a fun book. He knows how to write. He's a solid writer, he knows how to write, and he's a professional writer, meaning that you get good enough book that you will enjoy when you're picking one of his books. He has also written some young adult novels. I've read a couple of them. They were nothing to write home about. They were very formulaic. It was about a school teacher who has a new exchange student in every book. I read two of them. and they're always hunted by some ancient evil, and the teacher has to save them. He has also written some romances. I've got one of them, have yet to read it, but I just found it and I was like, what? What's that? And it was translated too. So it was like, I'm getting it. It will be fun. I have yet to read it. But I guess there will be a lot of sex. There will be a lot of sex because that's what he's doing. I mean, there is some hanky-panky in his horror books too. Some good books to start is The Manitou, The Black Angel. I'll leave a link below so you can read the first chapter yourself in the preview and see what I'm talking about. That's nasty stuff. Tengu is quite good if you don't want to have a very traditional horror novel in his vein. You want something different from him before you see his road. Pariah is also interesting. Yeah, seriously, I mean, check his books out. I think he's returning to horror books. His latest book was The House of Hundred Whispers. I've seen it in several horror tube channels. I think Merge from Harpies and the Trees has got it in a box, and Gloria McNeely did a review of it that I found it interesting. I commented that, yes, what's the demon? Where's the demon from? Because that's pretty much how his books are. He's tropey, but he's the good kind of tropey. The tropes are there, but as long as I get some good kills in the book, I'm satisfied. And I hope Ritual and Walkers will give me those sweet salts of horror when I read this book. I don't know if I'll take it on my vacation to read it. However, yes, I mean, you've got fun horror books, good writing, gory kills in many of the books, some imaginative killings, interesting settings in some of those books. Not all of them, alright? But he's got some crazy ideas. It's variation on a trope, and I think he has done that enough times to know how to do that. And yeah, my suggestion, go for it if you're into extreme horror. He is fun, definitely gorier than Richard Lehman. If you are in the Richard Lehman fan club, like I am, is gorier, less sexual, solid writer too, and you know what you're getting, which is very important. I mean, I've got my Graham Masterton mood days, so that should tell you everything about this. So yeah, that's my suggestion why you should read Graham Masterton. If you have read any of his books, leave a comment below about it. If you actually read any of his books, and please return to this video and leave a comment saying you're a bastard because I hated it, or you're a bastard because I love this and I want all of his books, and he's got a lot of them. So anyway, before you go, like, subscribe for more videos like that, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching and stay spooky.